live on the Facebook end. I'm gonna check the let me know if we live on the YouTube end on the channel, and I'll check the Facebook page. Right page.
Yeah, we live on YouTube.
All right. All right. Give us just 1 second, y'all. All right, let me do this. Let me do this. All right, we live on over there. And go ahead, you can go to countdown. You can't do it. I got it. Don't worry about it. I'll do it.
Oh no.
Is in. The books are in. Yep. They in. Here.
Peace, everybody. Peace and Black African power. Welcome back to Kofi Piesie TV. We have a special guest with us today. I ain't even ready, y'all. I ain't even got my headphones. I ain't got nothing. We're gonna rock out anyway. But please like and share the show. I ain't had time to share the show. I'll share the show in a minute. Sutekh, share the show too, man. But everybody, please share the show. Please share the show. You don't want to miss this powerful interview. But first, I want to say ETM Hotep. I want to say Dual Duau. I want to say Dual Aku, Dual Netcher, Fatmu Alafie, Fatmu Riwi, Fatmu Iwa Pele, Majuba Iba E Gungun, Majuba Iba E Gungun, Majuba Iba E Lakba, Majuba Iba E Lakba, Gungun, Kiki Gungun. I always want to give honor and praises to the ancestors, because without the ancestors, we wouldn't be here. We are our ancestors. I also want to stand honor and praises to the true and living elders according to African traditions and from an African world view. Like I said again, welcome back to Kofi Piesie TV. We have some of our brothers from the Kofi Piesie research team on the panel. We have Sutekh, Akande, Uyani, Oluwa, we have T'Challa Bangara, we have Vasa Nicolo Gullah, and we have our special guest, Brother Seneb, which we will introduce here in a few minutes. But brothers, before we get started with the show, if y'all got something to say, open up the show, please do. And again, family, please like and share the show. Please like and share the show. Please tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. A piece of those that are in the chat now, a piece of those that may be listening in the archives at a later date.
Bawoni, Ebi, peace family. Peace to my brothers on the panel. Peace to Brother Seneb. Peace to the people in the chat, all those that are coming in. Peace to all those that will see it in the archives. Please like and share the show. This is going to be a great interview, a great bill, so I'm ready.
All right. Peace to everybody that's viewing and everybody that'll be viewing later in the archives. Peace to the brothers on the panel, our special guests. And like Brother Sutekh said, we, you know, look forward to this interview as well. Brother is passionate about some areas that a few of us in the Kofi research team really kind of delve into. And I'm looking forward to learning a little bit more about that era that he's passionate about, dealing with reconstruction and things of that nature. So I'm looking forward to the interview, like and share the show, and let's rock out.
And Brother Vasa.
Peace, everyone. Peace to Nab. And peace to the listening audience, both now and in the future. We hope you enjoy. Happy to be here. Peace again, everyone.
All right. Let me share my screen again, y'all. Please like and share the show. Please like and share the show. Please tell a friend and tell a friend. Before we get started with the interview, I'm gonna share my screen. Want to run down a few things. Let me know when my screen is sharing, and I'll get to it. Let me do this too. My screen sharing, y'all.
Nah, not yet.
And I didn't even hit the screen sharing button. I probably went straight to. Yeah, I better with hold off. I know that's what I just did. All right, there you go back here. All right, hold on, y'all. Oh. All right, give me just 1 second. Let me share my screen. Exactly what I did. I didn't hit nobody share screen. All right, share screen. Let me know when my screen is sharing to the other thing.
All right, we good.
All right, let me do this too. Let me click this. I want to be able to see from YouTube too. I got 3 or 4 devices going at one time. Let me turn it down. All right. All right. Again, this is the second show of Warrior Scholars, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. But again, our special guest is Brother Seneb Sankofa from NBK, New Black Knowledge. All right, we must. Let me see. I got that show out of order, but we'll do that. We must not let our ancestors down. That is a phrase that we use over here on Kofi Piesie TV and Mossi Warrior Clan YouTube channel. We must not let our ancestors down. As I learned, we all learn is another powerful phrase that we use over here. We stand by over here at Kofi Piesie Research Team and Mossi Warrior Clan is, as I learned, we all learn. And today, I guarantee with this interview, you all will learn something that you didn't know prior to this interview. All right, and today's show is dedicated to my big brothers, my teachers, my mentors. That is Brother Benjamin Njie, better known as Black Panther, and Unc West, who is better known as the God Killers. And I'm dedicating this show to both of these brothers, not because I am a member of the Mossi Warrior Clan, but again, because I have learned a lot from these individuals, and they are the reason for this new show that we call Warrior Scholars. If you go back and look at the first, we interviewed both of these guys a few weeks ago, and we titled it Warrior Scholars Interview. So from that interview sparked this new show called Warrior Scholars. So we wanted to interview some of our favorite warrior scholars, some of the up and coming warrior scholars, and even some of those that we want actually the people that follow our channels to also inbox us or email us with scholars that y'all may see, that y'all may want us to interview. So again, the show is dedicated to my Mossi Arakurin, which is my Mossi brothers, Benjamin Njie and Unc West. All right, few working definitions so people can kind of follow along too. Warriors, because this show is called Warrior Scholars. So we're going to define what Warrior Scholars is and what we think of Warrior Scholars in, and then we'll jump into the presentation because this brother fits what these terms are, and this brother fits what some of the brothers describe as warrior scholars. So warrior from 1300, from the Old North French, Old French, I'm not going to even pronounce that word, a warrior, a soldier, combatant, one who wages war, from Wura, wage war, from Wura, and I see when I get to mine, I made but it's all right. Warriors, this is from the etymology dictionary. Warriors, a person who engaged or experienced warfare, probably a person engaged in some struggles or conflict. So remember, a person engaged or experienced in warfare broadly, a person engaged in some struggle or conflict. A struggle or conflict. Scholars, a person who attends a school or studies under a teacher. Pupil, a person who had done advanced studies in special fields. Remember that a person who has done advanced studies in special fields. A learned person could be a scholar, a holder of scholarship. This is from the Merriam Dictionary. Scholars, a person who studies a subject in great detail, especially at a university. That's from the Cambridge Dictionary. Warrior scholars. This is some of, real quick, and we'll get into the interview. Warrior scholars. These are some of what we, as Kofi Piesie research team, some of the meaning that we give as a warrior scholar. So I give my perspective, I give T'Challa perspective, and I give Vasa perspective, and hopefully we'll have every member from Kofi Piesie research team with their definition of what a warrior scholar is. But my meaning of warrior scholar is someone who is well studied, waging war against mistruths, pseudoisms, and willing to stand on the battlefield against institutions and platforms that promote that. A warrior scholar is someone who is on a mission for the truth, for accurate and sound information. A warrior scholar is one who has discipline, good character, morals, and willing to fight back against those who use information dangerously. This is the perspective by T'Challa. What a warrior scholar is. A warrior scholar is one who embarks the journey of self-mastery through rigorous physics training and the efforts to better the statements of being. A warrior is one who has embarked the journey of self-mastery through countless hours of meditation and the effort to learn the arts of stillness, becoming harmonious with the environment and all existence. A warrior is molded, guided, torn down, and built up so that their people may live and continue prolifically. Those who seek this path know the inviolable gifts of humility and those that place amongst the hierarchy of their people. But what does a warrior has to do with a scholar? A scholar is one who embodies all of the concepts mentioned above with a focus geared toward the scientific literacy and literacies as a whole. One must first be able to read and then develop superb reading and comprehension skills in order to properly relay the message receiving through one's scholastic endeavors, proper demonstrations of methodology, and a scientific styles of discipline, fields, and study. It is the only way to reach a proper conclusion. So a warrior scholar is one who fights on behalf of the universal truth, one who seeks truly and sets standards to combat the omnipresent misinformation, one who stays in their lane, humility, and does not portray themselves as a master swordsman if they specialize in that sphere. Now, the last perspective, this is from Vasa, what a warrior scholar is. A warrior scholar is those who ability to speak the truth in the hardest of times, war. Those who speak from the voiceless and weary, lost, broken, but not defeated. They give hope, courage, wisdom, and direction to all people. They defend all that is true and all they were never exposed with, expose what is sacred to us all. They demonstrate what is most sacred to us all. Our place in existence and our constant fight and perfection just think that there are stories and testimony that a sword is not the mightier than the pen. If the pen is held in righteous men, while the righteous men teach, a sword and a spirit can waste blood swiftly as a fool words waste ink. All right. So let's get into the interview. I just want to define what a warrior and a scholar is. Let me stop sharing my screen, and what we consider over here, Kofi Piesie research team, as warrior scholars. Again, peace to those in the chat. Peace to peace to Sister CK, peace to Athea D. Centos, Sister Ladocia, 433 TV, Pure Black, Lakeisha Dunn, Coach One Time, Alu Dawu L. Chavis, Tep Hesed. Happy birthday, happy belated birthday, but I wish you birthday yesterday, and everybody else in the chat and those that are looking. All right, so let's get into the interview. I have a bunch of questions for you, Brother Seneb. Do you mind if I read the little small video, your little small bio, and then you can kind of further elaborate who you is before we get into the interview? Is that okay if I read the bio that you gave?
Absolutely, that's fine.
Okay, so I'm gonna read the bio of our good brother Seneb real quick. Bio. Seneb was born in Greenville, North Carolina, but was raised in Goldsboro, brought up from a baby in his grandfather's house. He graduated college and went off to the Army in 2005. He completed 10 years, 6 years comeback tour to Iraq and Afghanistan. Seneb has been married for 16 years. Man, I applaud that. With a new child in the past of October, making it 4 children total. And I know I didn't say it the other day when we was on the phone. But congratulations. I might have did, but congratulations, man, on your new child.
I appreciate it.
On your new child. So, I mean, you can go a little bit further, and let people know a little bit more about you before we get into
and first of all, let me just say appreciation to all of you brothers for extending the invite to allow someone as myself to, be on your platform. I really appreciate, everything the Mossi are doing. Y'all know anytime y'all need anything to just shoot a message, and we'll provide, what's needed. So again, thank you. But yeah, after I got out the military in 2014, I did several more years overseas as a government contractor, coming back and forth between, Afghanistan and Atlanta. I came back officially 2 years ago, and over that period of time, being stuck overseas, there's not really a lot to do outside of eat, work, and go to the gym. So I definitely had an opportunity to, read and study and prepare and write. So, to kind of sharpen my own sword, to be able to articulate myself properly when we had these conversations in regards to, African American history or African history throughout the diaspora.
No doubt. So let's get the interview started. I have a few questions. We all have some questions for you, Brother Seneb, but my first question is, and each warrior scholar that comes on to the platform, we're gonna ask this. This is gonna be the first question off the rip. And name some of your favorite warrior scholars. Name some of your favorite warrior scholars. It can be as many as you want, but name some of your warrior scholars.
Well, first, I'm gonna have to say the first book I've ever read was Man, God, Civilzation by John G. Jackson. Mm-hmm. That was like the first one I literally sat down from start to finish and read completely. So that would be, he gets the first one. And second, I would have to say Gerald Horne. If you want to know about the pre-revolutionary Caribbean, North America, Gerald Horne is that guy. Like, he wrote a book called The Counterinsurgency of 1776, where he kind of explains why the European was leaving Antigua and Barbados and Jamaica and all of these wars that were happening in the Caribbean. It was because these Africans were revolting. They was causing insurrections, and they were burning these islands down. So that's what you see, in the South Carolina flag. You may see the type of tree, I forgot, the bamboo tree in their state flag. That flag isn't indicative to South Carolina. It's because those original settlers came from Barbados. So Gerald Horne, that's just my guy. Like, he has a bunch of lectures, University of Houston history chair. So if you just YouTube him, you'll find him. Third, man, that's a tough one because you don't want to see you putting somebody else over the other. John Hope Franklin, I had to go hometown. And that's one of the things I think Brother Historian for, because John Hope Franklin was literally down the street from me where I was growing up at, and I never really knew who he was. And he wrote books like The Free Negro in North Carolina from 1690 to 1860. I wasn't aware of this, you know what I'm saying? So um, definitely a warrior scholar, definitely changed the landscape when it comes down to African American history and how the methodology used to describe it. Like John Hope Franklin is definitely, he got to be in my top three.
Okay, no doubt. There's some good ones. I know of two of them. I don't know about the one in your hometown, and I'm gonna have to get that from you so I can.
Of course. Like if you go to archive.com, majority of his books, particularly the militant South, they talk about all the military academies in the South and how pre-Civil War they was like gearing up to, you know what I'm saying, trying to take the country over. So he's you know what I'm saying, he's solid.
Oh yeah,
Hey
I'm definitely
Seneb,
gonna
do
have
we get to flip? Do we get to flip a coin on Franklin? I knew he was gonna come from you. I knew
I mean
Franklin was gonna come. Do
I
we
mean
get to
he
flip?
just we
You
can
know,
flip we can
he
flip
rooted.
on
He rooted Oklahoma too. No, I'm just playing with the
yeah, I remember
audience for
you
those
sent me the
for
info.
those that don't.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember you sent me
yeah,
the
yeah,
info. I
yeah.
appreciate that. John Hope Franklin, whether it's Duke University, University of Chapel Hill, everyone, if you can. I don't want to be too long with it, but get the book From Slavery to Freedom. You know what I'm saying? I think the current volume is a 7th volume. I mean, from start to finish, whether it's the Portuguese to, maybe George Bush one, but it's going to be detailing, you know what I'm saying, our experience here and throughout the diaspora.
And as a
to.
set individual author, he's probably one of the best that I've seen so far to give in Black Oklahoman history. I don't
Yeah,
see
he
too
called.
many others that have just a personal, one author by volume of work dedicated to that story. And I know it's him, and there's another brother, John Lewis Franklin.
I know
But you'll see
John
their names a
Blassingame
lot,
is one.
pulling
Yeah,
from them.
Alfred Moss. I work with him a lot too. So, there's
Hmm.
definitely, there was a question I had the other day that we're talking about, we get a lot of information from European scholars. There's a lot of African American Black scholars who are doing this work, who have books out for us to go purchase or download. You know what I mean? So we don't necessarily have to always get it from, a European. Not saying the guy could be purple for all I care, but as long as the information is solid, you know what I'm saying? And more importantly, when we get it from us, we know it has that cultural filter. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah, yeah. Um, and again, if you just tuning in, please like and share the show. And if it's your first time on Kofi Paisai Research Team, Kofi Paisai TV, please subscribe to the channel. And if you're on the Facebook end, because we're broadcasting from YouTube and Facebook, please like and share over there on Facebook as well. Brother Seneb, now, how long have you been reading books and researching?
I will have to say reading period, since I was like 16, 17, I came up in the AME Zion church. So whether it was my grandma giving me a daily bread or Bible study prayer meeting, that type of thing, up until when I left the church, I definitely always had something in my hands. So I was 16. The level of skill I've had, reading, understanding what I'm reading, and know how to, investigate and figuring out that methodology, of course, has matured over the years to where I am now. But definitely always had a book in my hands since about 15, 16.
Okay, what about the researching aspect?
I mean, researching, I would say since about 2014, 15, right around the time I started, I joined NBK. It's strenuous there because it's primary source heavy. So, and it teaches that. I know you all talk about methodology as well when it comes down to, what I'm saying, history or science, but, it that same methodology works in all avenues. The primary source is always the first stop. And understanding how to utilize my local library, to utilize my local historical society, or what I'm saying, health department, courthouse, probate house, a lot of these records are in these buildings. So, but no one ever really sits us down and shows us how to, do that research. Like, you don't have to go to college and get a PhD to figure out how to do proper methodology. So that I would have to say, 2014.
Okay, 2014. And while we talking about how long you've been reading books and researching, what is some of the books or book you might be reading at this particular moment?
Well, right now I'm reading Maroon Societies. I think it's by Richard Price. Well, he's the editor. It's a corpus. It's a collection of different papers that describes Maroon communities in South America, like Venezuela, Colombia, parts of Brazil, Chile, also Central America, Mexico, Jamaica, and also North America and Canada. So that's what I have right now. But before that, I read it's a book called Portugal and West Africa, 1690 to something, or 14 something to 1690, where she includes, not only does she translate the records, but she includes the titles, description, page numbers of Alfonso the First writing the sea in Santo Tomé, or the Pope. So definitely been trying to get more into my Atlantic African or Afro-Atlantic, West African time frame with my reading now.
Okay, that's interesting. Vossler, you had that first book that he mentioned about the Maroons?
I think so.
Okay, that might be
Yeah, it's
something.
definitely.
There's one. I think there's another one called The Maroon Within Us, and I always get confused.
This one's like a red cover book. Richard Price does a lot of South American history. This is with the timeline. That's just where it's taking me now. First, we dealt with the free African in America, but now I'm trying to take that next step to whether it's Sierra Leone and Canada to Mexico and the other parts of the Caribbean.
Okay. Well, now how long? Because let's stay on this for a minute, because we with the books. Now, for people that may not know, and and you is now, I'll say this because people, when I use this word, a lot of time, that's why I like to define words, especially when we doing these shows with the name, like with we have another show called Author Perspective, where we interview authors. We interview authors, and then we try to educate people and influence and encourage people to start writing, and so we walk them through the process and show them how you can do it versus going through a publishing company and going through a self-publishing company and etc., and going through the steps and the process on how to do it and complete a book and so forth. And so we define words over there as well. So an author. So I'm going to say how long you've been an author. You may not perceive yourself to be an author, and some people may not even know that you write at all or even know you're an author, because when we looked up the word author is a writer. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's an article, whether it's a book, whether it's a newspaper, you are a author. So I don't want to say just writer. I would just want to say you are a author. So how long have you been writing, and where can we find some of your writings, Ed? And are you planning this up? This 3 questions. And first, how long you been writing? Where can we find some of your writings, Ed? And are you planning to put out a book pretty soon?
Well, I started writing around middle school. I wrote a lot of I assisted in a lot of plays at school. We had a cool English teacher, and instead of hitting us with the curriculum, she would allow us to write our own plays sometimes and on folk tales. So writing then, I became writing in history around 2016. As I was reading, and early on for me, I would say when I started really focusing on African American history, there's a lot of emotion in it. And I would find myself angry at sometimes. And I would be thinking all these things in my head as I'm walking around. So I started putting it on paper. And it went from a few lines, went to a paragraph. The next thing I know, I have like 13 pages. So, definitely 2015, 16 when I began to read, and a lot of that stuff I probably wouldn't put out ever because it's a lot of it's emotional because we all know that about the pseudoscience with regards to our early history, and a lot of it skewed or some of it may be left out. So when you start seeing these things, it raises a certain level of emotion in you because people around the world act like they don't know what we're talking about. So I had to begin to put those things on paper. I had to begin to kind of read over them, make sure that I got the right word in the right place. So when I'm online articulating myself, I'm not saying something crazy. And it helped refine the way I write as well. It's almost like practice. But with regards to where can you find some of my work, of course, Killmonger Volume 1 and Volume 2, which is, I believe Volume 2 is coming out soon. I wrote a piece in it called The Second Civil War, which details Reconstruction and, of course, the Compromise of 1877 when both political parties threw us underneath the bus. And, went in about, black codes, anti-enticement laws, things of that nature. I mean, nowhere else really. I think we got stuff on the NBK community page, some stuff that I wrote. We had a blog page up, and I'll provide that to you, after the show is over, to the
Yeah.
NBK blog.
Yeah.
But I
So
think
I
I
can.
even I think I even reached out to you before. I mean, I want to start getting it out there. I'm starting to kind of read or sort of distill a lot of the information in the papers that I wrote before. So, over the next couple of months, I'm gonna begin to drop them more. As long as Brother Ben keeps putting out the volume, he will always have a article from me. So, but I definitely want to begin to put more out there, whether it's WordPress or my own publication, which I don't have a date for yet. So I don't want to, sell anybody a wolf ticket. But in the next 5, 10 years, I definitely want to have not necessarily a book, but more of a corpus of early free African American history, not just in North America, but throughout the Afro Atlantic. So that's something I'm eyeing and I'm collecting for now.
Okay. Yeah. And we definitely gonna touch back bases again because your name was brought up before. We was talking about you before. So and you mentioned Killmonger's Corner, and but we want to definitely invite you and welcome you to maybe do the forward or the dedicated forward when we get ready to do volume
Oh man,
four. Yeah,
appreciate that.
we got brother Jehudi, Jehudi Ma'at, which is one of your
Oh yeah,
uh
NBK all day.
and
Yeah,
yeah, right, and he's my brother too. He's a member of the Seshew Ma'ani Netcher group.
indeed.
Um yeah, so and he done some of the artwork and the book covers for me and Shawn children book, and he we took a sketch that we got made from out of Africa. We had a sketch made by Fidel, who's in Gambia, and I gave the sketch to Jehudi, and Jehudi took the sketch, and put his touches on it, and that's the new Mboka brand. So we got a store called Mboka Family Apparel Connection, Connected, which is
That's
also
peace.
coming out. Yeah, which is we've been posting some pieces the last 2 days. We're gonna continue to post up until the date that it's coming out. You mentioned Killmonger's Corner, which is coming out on this Friday, which is also volume 3, Spiritual Combat, a historical survey in the minds of African warrior scholars, volume 3 by the Kofi Piesie research team. We're dropping both of those books on the same day, as well as launching that Mboka Family Connected apparel store as well. So we doing a whole lot on the 27th. But talk about a little bit about what you wrote about in Killmonger's 2 that's coming out this Friday, 11/27/2020.
Well, first, with the a lot of the time when we hear about African American history, we tend to get the slavery side. We really don't get a proper understanding of the why was slavery even an issue? Who was making slavery an issue? Who were these abolitionists that people were referring to? When people close their eyes, think about abolitionists, think about old white man. So that kind of angered me a little bit early on. So with the Second Civil War, I kind of show the when you take a look at the Civil War, you take at Reconstruction, they don't really tell you who's these Africans or who these black folks involved in the process. And they don't really relate the experiences of these Africans newly emancipated 4 million and somehow find themselves in a quasi-slavery again. And it's not just, I'm just walking around with nothing to do. It's that I'm walking around and somebody's trying to hang me from a tree or riddle my body with bullets, castrate me, sell my foreskin to somebody as a keepsake. It didn't get to the gruesomeness and the darkness and how sadistic some of these individuals, these European ancestors were. And what the Second Civil War does is kind of describe it. I kind of use Du Bois' work, Black Reconstruction in America from 1860 to 1880 as my platform. And a lot of the data, a lot of the information with regards to Black Republican congressmen and senators, I include in that. I talk about how, the Freedmen's Bank was started in 1863, or the Freedmen's Bureau was started in 1863, and how during this radical Reconstruction, the South was broken up into military districts run by a general, and how the Freedom Bureau was embedded in these communities, and how schools were created, homes were created, people got their 40 acres and a mule. It's not just General Sherman in the Sea Islands. No, it's in the Freedmen's Bureau Act, where they were supposed to, in those military districts, segment that land in 40 acre segments and give it to Black people. So I talk about that, and also spoke about how the carpetbaggers from the North took advantage of the Negro, and how the love of money kind of undercut the radical Republican push during Reconstruction. And it gets kind of morbid towards the end, because what's more morbid than somebody telling you that they got to take your child from you because you don't have a job, and you can't go find a better job because that's also illegal. So it is a very, when we speak about domestic terrorism, we have a definition for it. The definition for it is this early country's history, particularly not only slavery, which is, we don't have to measure it, but after slavery and antebellum South, and how this country habitually put the African in a state of inferiority, and regardless of what we did, prevented us from ameliorating our condition. So that piece right there is, definitely dedicated to that understanding and that mindset.
Okay, I'm waiting on it too, man. As soon as mine get here, I'm definitely gonna break it open, man, and check it out. I liked the piece that you did on in Killmonger's two. I mean Killmonger's one. I'm any other brothers, I can reserve some of my questions. I don't want to get all my questions out, and also before that, CK or Seneb was saying what I guess she asked him what is the name of the WordPress. I guess she's gonna put it in.
Yeah, I don't have nothing up yet. It's all, brainstorming. But when I do, I will surely put it up on the MBK community page and on the Discord, so everybody know where it's at.
No doubt.
I don't have a question at the moment, but before I forget, can I throw out a book to Seneb real quick before we get too far from Reconstruction? Try to get your hands on Too Great a Burden to Bear, The Struggle and Failures of the Freedmen's Bureau in Texas.
Too Great a Burden to Bear?
Christopher Bean.
The first one was Too Great of a Burden to Bear?
Yeah, and then the subtitle is The Struggle and Failure. It's the subtitle. The subtitle is
okay, that's the subtitle.
And Failure of the Freedmen's Bureau in Texas.
Got it. Appreciate that.
By Christopher Bean. Good.
Hey, listen.
Detailed. It goes into who was elected, the officials, and their individual mindset of the Freedmen's Bureaus and how we've broken up those little regions. But he kind of, pinpointed Texas to do his research on. It's a good book.
And appreciate it. And y'all know me, like if I'm a nerd out on a particular time frame in history, Reconstruction is where I'm a nerd out at. I'm sorry, but that is an interesting time, and I appreciate that book recommendation, brother. Right off.
Oh yeah, that's why I rock with you, man, because I know, we was talking about that too before you joined the panel about your lane, your specialty, where you put a lot of your time and effort in the Reconstruction period. So, and I learned a lot from listening to a lot of your videos, and not just a lot of your videos, but a lot of NBK videos as well, man. But I know that's your lane, man, and I appreciate the work, man, that you're putting in, man, on that aspect of Reconstruction, because a lot of other platforms don't talk about that. Don't talk about the Reconstruction period, man. So, and that was one of the reasons I wanted to bring you on, because your specific skill set, and it's not touched as much, and I appreciate it. So that makes you one of my favorite warrior scholars, and like I said, the show is about bringing on our warrior scholars, our up and coming warrior scholars, and the people that watch us and support us, the supporters, who they might want to see. But I just want to throw out there that you one of my favorite warrior scholars, and every time I listen to one of your presentations or one of your bills, I'm always learning something. I can't never catch them. Like I said, like we was talking before, I can't never catch them when y'all go live, because y'all be going live at different times, and a lot of times y'all might be going live I think I seen one last night or other night. Y'all was live at about 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning.
That's how and we're trying to get like a defined, and I appreciate what you said earlier, but we're trying to find a defined time. But that 10 o'clock hour, that prime time hour just seems when we like to go live or early in the morning. So we appreciate everybody for tuning in. That's kind of the focus of the channel. Not to just necessarily speak about 5,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago. Not saying that history isn't relevant or important, but we definitely saw an avenue where we can get some information out, and to have people start where they stand. And I hope over the last 5-6 years that a lot of people have tried hitting up their local historical society. For those who don't, you'll be surprised with what you find. I guarantee you, where you stand, there was some black folks there making noise. So,
no doubt. Well, shoot, while we on that period, and then I'll pass it on. Go ahead, Voss.
Oh, Kofi, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No,
I was
go
just
ahead.
gonna say this is probably the most exciting interview I've got to participate in so far, solely because I know Seneb is going to be one of the ones that I can ask questions like this. Seneb, are we Africans or are we Creole? And then I can go and touch Reconstruction with him. I don't want to get too lost in there, but just to show you, Seneb, how much I pay attention to you.
If you
Yeah,
know,
I said, are we African or are we Creole? Right. So I'm smiling.
I love the word Creole. Shouts out to Yoruba Land, rest in peace. He's done a lot to improve the conditions of Africana studies and African history, period. But I like, giving our own appellation. I like Afro-Atlantic culture, period.
Right.
They even try to, even on the continent, they call like the Luso-African language Creole. Like, nah, that's Afro-Atlantic culture. The Afro is the base for those people being of African descent. And, if you watch my, ain't no question who I'm suggesting I am. And the record shows that those who, are like-minded or, are in the same boat as me, my responsibility or job is to show that history and how we can tie it back. So I hate the word Creole. I hate it. It's too. I just don't like that word. And Danny knows, Velocity, you must have heard it too. Like I have a disdain for that word because it puts so much onus on the European. And if the European wasn't a part of it, it couldn't be Creole. You know what I mean? So Afro-Atlantic, I tend to hinge that way more than Creole, but most definitely African. We're gonna get that out
And
the
when
way.
you look at the culture and what's actually taking place, how can you disregard as African in the first place?
Exactly.
And I'm bringing it up because you said you were studying, Oxen Maroon history, not necessarily Maroon history. But if that's what you're at right now, I know you see these patterns too. I know you see it. Y'all got to excuse me. My son's trying to get to me, so I'm gonna go
Peace to
to
the
mute.
babies.
But
I mean, no, that experience of those early Africans, that Creole culture. Recently, I spoke about Bunce Island I spoke about those Lakando or Lakandos, Luso Africans, even those Jewish or new Jews that made their way into Congo and Angola, other parts of West Africa. They eventually threw away their traditional, their own traditions and succumbed to West African traditions. You know what I'm saying? Whether it been marrying an African wife or going down to the shrine on whatever O'Shea that you have. You know what I'm saying? So it seems like all of these cultures, excuse me, eventually uh, become encompassed by, African spiritual systems or African culture, period. This African culture. So it's important that we highlight that and not let, academia try to categorize it in a certain way that takes the importance out of the African foundation. Because we know a lot of these areas, whether it's Caribbean, where you have, or Brazil, excuse me, where you have folks saying, this wouldn't happen if it wasn't for the African. That's not just because you was down there picking sugar. Your abilities, your intellect, your insight and intelligence is what made some of these colonies um, great or allowed them to flourish. And that's some people like to shun from that history of enslavement. But I think that's when we were almost at our greatest because we're able to still stand here. We can talk about it. You know.
Right. I anybody else, man, I reserve my questions T'Challa, Sutekh. You got anything for Brother Seneb? Like I said, I don't want to take the whole interview over.
Yeah, I got some. Brother, you mentioned something about, I wanted you to kind of backtrack about, was it 1877 when you were talking about what both political parties did?
Indeed.
Yeah, go ahead.
And the Reconstruction period starts at around 1860, 1861. And it ends abruptly in 1877 with the presidential election of President Hayes, and he won it from General Ulysses Grant. And during this period of time, I think there was a Representative Tillman suggested that we were 8 years in power. Ta-Nehisi Coates recently wrote a book called "We Were 8 Years in Power," and this is the time frame that he's talking about, where you have blacks or African Americans entering the halls of Congress and not just sitting there twiddling their thumbs. Unlike some of the caricatures, broadsides, and Harper's Weekly articles that we see on the internet, you have public schools being built. There were no public schools in the South to educate children, period, regardless of what ethnic group they came from. So not only do you see Africans maintaining the economy in these cities, you also having their tax dollars being appropriated properly to support schools. You see mutual aid and benefit organizations coming up. You see in black banks, not only the Freedmen's Bureau being stood up in places like Alabama, Mississippi, and South Carolina. You see, black colleges being stood up. Booker T. Washington and Up From Slavery wrote about how there was no room there was no sitting room. People were standing up, whether it was daytime or nighttime, old or young, to educate themselves. So this time frame, in my opinion, people want to talk about when the country was great. It began. We had the backing of the federal government. We had military. We had federal soldiers in the South to protect these communities. Unfortunately, some of these units allowed things like the Hamburg Massacre or the Caliphate Massacre to occur. And when we hear about terrorism or we hear about domestic terrorism in other parts of the world, we hear about people blowing stuff up. We hear about people shooting places up. But right here in the country that we stand on, we had freedmen schools being burnt to the ground. We had those people being shot trying to flee those schools. We had banks or people being terrorized because they just want to run for office or be a postman. So the Reconstruction, with all the highs, has, in my opinion, a lot of lows. Because to go from where you are newly emancipated and you have the sun gazing off your face and you free, and to a split second later, your child is being ripped from you because you don't have a job, or you're forced into a sharecropping enterprise that puts you right back into slavery again. And in 1877, with those carpetbagger New Yorkers, along with members from the South, sabotaged this and agreed to end radical Reconstruction, They agreed to remove the federal troops from the South, which everyone knew was the safeguard to order, which is unfortunate because everyone screams law and order now. But there was no law and order in the 1860s, 1870s, 1880s, and subsequently. You had people being ripped, citizens being ripped out of their house, set from a tree, and let ablaze, and nobody goes to jail for it. You dig what I'm saying? So this time frame here in 1877, in the collapse, we saw the push of Confederates, former Confederates now re-entering the halls of Congress, able to create laws and state and national in a national house, and ultimately disenfranchise that African American to where you see, after 1890, you don't have a black representative or senator into the 60s, late 60s, 70s. That effort is predicated on the disenfranchisement of those individuals' grandparents. You see what I'm saying? So Reconstruction, and particularly in these days and time when we see electoral college votes and popular votes and people running for president, it's imperative that we understand the reason why there's electoral college, to understand the Missouri Compromise and what they were trying to do, what the Southerners were trying to do to enforce their rule and perpetuate slavery. So, I mean, in that 20 year, 15, 20-year period, there's a lot to unpack. So, I don't know if I answered your question. I don't know if I ran too long, but I hope I kind of gave you what you're looking for.
Yeah, I asked you to backtrack because I find myself in political conversations with a lot of people, as we all do. And, I hold certain stances when it comes to participating. And in terms of the recent reactions that certain people
Mm-hmm.
had to, Trump not being the president anymore. And people was acting like, oh, it's such a good feeling. And, there's this concept of this truth word being thrown around. I've had this conversation with a few people, and I've listened to everybody's viewpoints, but the problem that I have is there is no truth coming forth for Trump being out of office. And the reason why I make that jump and leap is because when you mentioned the way you said it at first, when you mentioned it, you said both political parties threw us under the bus. That quote.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. And that's right where I want to stay. As Brother Uncle said, I want to stay right there. You know what I'm saying? I want to play that game right there
Okay.
because people don't understand what you just said, that statement, brother. Like, as if both any political party, you know what I'm saying, being two heads of that same snake, right,
Mm-hmm.
was ever trying to not bite us in the first place.
I mean, you were fodder. We were fodder. If it wasn't a war, if the building wasn't falling down, you were fodder, and you were used as a bargaining chip or a pawn on a chessboard throughout this country's history, even pre-colonial history. But to stay on this Democrat-Republican thing, the first black representatives and senator in this country were Republicans, and I don't know if a lot of people know that. The ideology of the Republican Party at the time was, still conservative, but it was more of an abolitionist stance. But throughout Reconstruction, you see it. You see where money was able to manipulate men of, regardless of they were Democrat or Republican. We see how those radical Republicans, where they were just old and died and fell out, weren't able to stand 10 toes down. I mean, Lincoln had a 10% plan, which suggested that all Confederate members pledge allegiance, at least I think it was 10%, pledge allegiance to the country. And it was a shot down. And I said in one of my original papers, the only way this country can maintain, buoyancy is through hypocrisy. So, we understand that the Democratic Party went through the South and went on a legitimate insurgency using military tactics, militias, violence, and manipulated elections, killed people, hung them from trees. And these were Democrats. This was the arm of the Democratic Party. And it kind of relates to now to where it's almost flipped to where it's now the Republicans are the one who echo these political platitudes and sentiments about um, minorities or poor people or people who commit crimes, when we know through early sociology, you talking about black folks. When I hear Trump talk about protecting the suburbia, I know who he's protecting the suburbia from, because his ancestors were doing the same thing, whether they would be Democrat or Republican. So, it's important. I'm not saying that, trying to say what we should create a new political party, but we should pay attention to Georgia right now. And I hope, if I'm going away from your topic, let me know, brother. We should pay attention to what Stacey Abrams is able to do in Georgia, and how via education, people can become more politically sound. So when you have a president in front of you just talking, you will understand that it's a platitude. There's nothing behind it. His words are hollow. So I commend her, and I commend anyone who believe in civics, because your ancestors, while they were on the plantation and off the plantation, were evolved and engaged in legislatures and assemblies for proper representation. You dig what I'm saying? And whether it be Democrat or Republican, both those parties, when the heat was on, sided to compromise with the ops at the detriment of black folks. So, and I think a lot of that was, a lot of our miseducation. You fresh off the plantation, you don't really know the intricacies of politics and what all these things mean and these parties mean. So I think we suffer from that. But again, whether it be Democrat or whether it be Republican, we must find whatever party, or not necessarily what party, but what candidate represents the the things that we want to see in the communities that we live in. What worked for me in Sugar Hill, Georgia, may not work for brother Kofi where he lived in Mississippi. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we should shun each other or our politics are flawed. It just where he's at works for where he's at, and vice versa. So I don't think black folks should get too wrapped up behind Democrat and Republican.
Me
We
neither.
we we should be more concerned with what the candidate is saying they're going to, what he or she is saying that they want to do, and how what he or she is saying what they're going to do affect us, because that's what the European does. The
And
European doesn't tell its people to don't vote. That's not what they say. They tell their people to go vote. You know what I mean? So if we had that same understanding and get back to, because we had it already. I'm not gonna say we need to get civics. No, we had civics already. We showed Absalom Jones right in Congress in 1799. We understand what assemblies are and legislation is and petitions are. We got that down already. We just need to get back to it and understand it and become more involved in it. And I feel like once we become more involved in it and have more understanding of it, that's what they really don't like. They didn't like the Black Panthers were intellectual. They didn't like that Black African, Black Liberation Army and the Black Brotherhood were intellectuals. They understood the laws. They used the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and the Declaration of Independence against the country. You just see what I'm saying? So when we get back to that civics, understanding civics, in my opinion, I think we'll begin to, ameliorate our condition more and more.
yeah, and not to, I'm not trying to hog the mic with the interview, but I do want to say this last thing, and I pass the mic. Um, because again, like I said, I was looking forward to this interview as well, because I know that when it comes to certain dates and with politics like that, no, I'm not versed in that. But what I am versed in, why I can follow the conversation, is because everything you described, I know specifically in the ins and outs of how that work in certain parts of Africa on the continent. You see what I'm saying? In terms of
Indeed.
how we govern ourselves, because in the conscious community and as Black people as a whole, we don't like that word government. We, everything, they're the ones that are the quote unquote they that we speak of, and white people and government in general. That's the they that we talk about when they be like they doing something to us or
Yes,
they
sir.
out to do. You know what I'm saying? So that paints a false narrative and an illusion that Black people never had any sort of sense of government, which paints the narrative or plays into the narrative of the civilization coming out of Mesopotamia, you
Oh,
know.
brother, I mean they can go get pre-colonial Black Africa, and the great Shenketi Diop breaks down the even, you know, I know y'all were doing the joint on Chancellor Williams. Even Chancellor Williams break down the governmental structure in West Africa and the different layers where it was elders, the class, age groups. Like, we've always had rules. You know what I'm saying? We've always had order. So to suggest somehow, and real quick, and I don't mean to cut you. People say that this system isn't ours. I disagree. This system is yours. You enabled it. You built it, enabled it, maintained and protected it. If anyone is appropriate to deal with this system that we have in this country of democracy, it is a Black man or a Black woman, because you not only experienced it, you built it. You dig what I'm saying? So it's a lot, and I think, you know, people sometimes run to, oh, you an agent or you a coon because you don't want to separate. But like, my nigga, I'm not trying to build a plane and then go build another plane. I already have one here. I just got to tune it up. I'm gonna tune it up the same way my ancestors tuned it up. You see what I'm saying? So this country, this government is yours. The government works for you. If there's a representative, DA, sheriff, district attorney, school board member, city planner, community planner that's not abiding by what you and yours want done, you have the ability to get rid of them. The prosecutor, the DA for Ahmaud Arbery is no longer in office. They got the people came together and got rid of her. That's what democracy is. We don't have to just sit on the sideline and complain about things, but then every 4 years come around, midterms come around, and we just complaining still. Like, you have the power to go make sure that the local sheriff is on your side, that the DA is on your side, the ADA is on your side, those judges that have lifetime appointments, those electoral college electors that are voted for. Like, people are chosen to be on that board. But
it's just a lot of people don't know, Seneb. I mean, when we talk about politics or you talk about the government structure, you know, a lot of people don't know about these, you know about these things. So you get the rhetoric where, you know, the government, this, this day government, don't vote or etc. You know, I'm still gonna stand. I'm still gonna stand by. We need to separate. That's just the bottom line. That's just the bottom line. But but a lot of people don't know about it, and that's why I appreciate the information that you.
And real quick, brother, before you go too far, you thinking we should separate and me thinking we should stay here doesn't mean that you an agent, that you a coon, that you don't know your history, that you crazy. You just have a different way of getting free.
Right.
Before 200 years ago, we was able to understand that, hey, so and so may not believe what I believe in or want to do what I want to do, but he or she has an option. If me and moms are doing what we're doing over here, it doesn't mean that they got to get on the internet and shoot at us, because we got to know if Europeans doing that now. So it's okay if we disagree. We're not a monolith. Everybody that's in America didn't come from the Bakongo. You know what I'm saying? We came from different localities that were probably beefing with each other before we saw European.
Right. Right.
And that's why I brought it up, because I'm definitely on the stance of, myself personally. And anybody could say what they want to say, feel how they want to feel. You know what I'm saying? The line is right here in front of me. If you want to step, we can have that conversation intellectually, and we can spar all night long. But my opinion is that, number one, everyone should be mandated to deal with one African language. I'm talking about pre-colonial African languages, because that is going to give you the necessary paradigm shift to understand that, like, even why I brought up civilization is because I was engaged in that conversation recently with someone, and I had to explain to them, yes, we've always had government and structure, because the very words and the greetings in certain African languages, Brother Kofi did a presentation. and he had the greeting to the older brother from a younger man. He had the greeting to the younger brother from an older man. He had all of those greetings broke down in the family structure. And it was based around that word family. It was about being a family with our African governments. And that's why I say we need an African language, because whether we say that we need to go ahead and kick all the corrupt ones out and just put all of ours back in the office like that, or if we're on the side of like myself and probably Kofi, I feel like, no, we don't. I personally don't feel like we need to continue to participate in what is established because of, and it's just the way I see it. It's a glass of water for me that has, even if one drop of oil, I can't drink that. You see what I'm saying?
I
That's
understand.
just that's just my opinion. However, like you talked about, we come from being on the continent from different tribes that, yes, had our different beefs and quarrels, but there's some ways that we actually settled those. And it didn't mean that the Mandinka people sought out to annihilate the Susu people entirely.
I mean, that was banging though. My thing was more this, not to say that we were just beefing. It wasn't like we doing 80 years wars and 100 years war like the European. That's not what I'm saying. It more that we had disagreements before we met them.
Of course.
Now you throw in a few Europeans, and you throw in a dash or more religion, you throw another dash or more, you know what I'm saying, ego, and you're gonna have what we have right now. The brother true historians say, it isn't a destination, it's a journey. And once we realize that our responsibility is to make sure that the foundation, by the time we leave this building, is firm, and the baby's got enough information and tools to continue building, that's where we at. If there's a segment of the people who want to start their own, that's peace. I don't think anyone will have an issue with that. I think they had issues, whether it was Du Bois against Garvey in the beginning, but that was just, we in the same spot we in right now. We just disagree, and we feel like we got the best plan. But nah, I mean, I'm pretty sure whatever separatist plan is there is going to be plentiful, and I may support it eventually. But where we stand right now, I may not support it to the full extent. But again, that's just with us building and engaging each other and having these kind of conversations to try to influence someone or ones to join our causes. But for me in this political thing, to me, that body got you off the plantation. You dig? That body made you a citizen. That body secured you certain inalienable rights that, in a sovereign state, you may have to beef not only with that sovereign state, but the sovereign states that land that you sitting in. You see what I'm saying? So we have the ability outside of thing that I feel sabotage Reconstruction was white paramilitary organizations. I don't think they're gonna send their white coats into your neighborhoods until you stop voting for Stacey Abrams or stop going to Stacey Abrams meetings. Or they're gonna stop telling you, they're gonna jump on your internet service and prevent ISP and prevent you from going to votepeach.org or something. Like, I don't think these entities, no matter how much they talk loud on the internet, are going to do that, because that's what your ancestors face. Our ancestors face walking down to the polls and being strung up from a tree, or having a convention and your convention being shot up. I don't necessarily know if in 2020 that's what's going to happen. If it does happen, I also feel that we should be prepared to handle it, most definitely. But we have the ability. We watch how other interest groups, I would say, push legislation to their liking, and the mechanism they use to push that legislation. That's the foundation of what we used to be doing. We did the same thing. We was writing, we was protesting, we was marching, and whether somebody agrees with those tactics or whether they being effective, I can look at my mother's lifetime and my grandmother's lifetime and my great grandmother's lifetime, and I'm gonna see progressiveness. I'm gonna see progressive policies that may not have ameliorated my great grandmother, but did my grandmother. And those later on policies that may not have helped my great grandmother helped my mother. And I got babies here in this house, and I know the policies that my mother and myself and others are fighting for is going to help them. That's what it's about. We took an L for about a good 500, 600 years. It's gonna take us some time to get back right. And I think, unfortunately, this is the journey that we got to be on. Unless somebody else comes with another plan. But this is the journey where we re-engage the legislative apparatus, the judicial apparatuses that made us citizens, that made us be able to vote, that made us free. Those same apparatuses that did that work for us. I feel that all the subsequent work that need to get done, it'll be those same apparatuses that do it as well. So,
all right. Well, let's get on back, man, into the interview, man. Let's and I'll pass it on to Seneb, but let's get back to MBK, because, like I said, we done talked about y'all lane and what y'all do, especially what you do with the Reconstruction, but y'all talk about that era a lot over there at MBK, and you said that in 2014 you joined MBK. So who was the first person you met? And I may be wrong. Like I said, Jehudi, my man, but we talk all the time, especially because we do a lot of stuff together. And but who you met first, Jehudi or a truer story? And clear something up for me too. Mm-hmm. Okay, 2004. This was the same time that I started to no, might have been 2014. I got introduced to MBK through Jehudi, and I don't know if Jehudi is the founder or the co-founder, and that's when he was doing the skits with the guy with the white shirt on and had the glasses on. Yeah, hello, right.
Shout out CCN.
Right. So that's when I got introduced to MBK, and then from there, I think from Jehudi, I ended up meeting got to know who True Historian was, and then I think I had already knew Sister Kaba. I think I already knew. No. I didn't know. I got introduced to Sister Kaba through somewhere else, but I found out later she was a part of MBK. But I know just about everybody over there at Robborn. I know Robborn. I got introduced to Robborn before he became a member of MBK. But who is the founders of MBK, man, if you don't ask? And then you could go into who you met first, Jehudi or True Story.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
So, I mean, to clarify, it had to be like around, 2016, 2015, really, when I became like an avid subscriber. But, Jehudi, MBK, the brother, is all, those were the two that I know. But, that may be a better question for brother Jehudi. When I came in, it was already well established. The brothers, whether it was True Story and Jehudi, brother Robborn, Sister Kaba, they and brother MBK, they was already with it. So, but your question is like the beginning of it. That's when I kind of came in and where the brother was at. And again, it was just live shows. I saw the CCN, and with regard to Jehudi, he may not remember, but he did a video about the Colin Kaepernick, Ray Lewis situation. And, I was kind of shooting that cap, like, he should do more. And he was like, why? Why does this individual got to bear the breast of a whole people? And it wasn't necessarily that he kind of caught me slipping. It was more of the angles. Because, again, early on, I'll be honest, a lot of my understanding and reading was emotional. It was a lot of anger to it. I wasn't able to compartmentalize the anger and the emotion to get a better understanding of what I was reading or seeing. And that brother really, helped me understand that, that's, he helped me understand what was emotional, along with True Story, and what was emotional, what wasn't, and how to properly, break things down and understand them from not only your point, but from multiple points, and how not only from those multiple points, but how it's seen to the op. Because we think of warfare, you only thinking on a battlefield with some weapons and some javelins, right, and some 81 millimeters. Like, nah, it's intellectual too.
Right.
So I was at a position where I wasn't necessarily seeing all the angles. And once I began to breaking things down and critically thinking about it, you know, that's one thing I can say about MBK, whether it's True Storian or Jehudi or Allen, you know, it's going to force you to be able to not only just find something on Google, but to be able to articulate it and have a point of view of it. And when you see that same source or that same reference in multiple books, because that's what's going to happen, you're going to be able to ascertain what this author's personal preference is, what that author's personal preference is, and, you know, all the way down the line. That's what, you know what I'm saying, I would say that a benefit of, you know what I'm saying, kind of being over here and the way we think and the way we read, I was able to get that from. So, but in regard to the team, I would have to say it's got to be MBK and Jehudi. When I came in, it was a well-oiled machine. You know what I'm saying? I came in just being in the peanut gallery, as we say, trying to drop shit here and when I could. And then, you know, finally you meet the plug. You know what I'm saying? Everybody know, you know, what happened when you meet the plug.
You
You know,
wrong.
at that point, I made True Story, and you set at that point, and I want to clarify some things. It ain't just the brother giving people something. You know, it's a journey, not a destination. It's being able to have someone to where when you don't know how to necessarily connect that dot, their seniority, they may already venture their journey to connect that dot. So for me, to prevent me from going over 4 or 5 years trying to figure it out, I've already got it at where I'm at now. And that's what I mean by building or standing on shoulders. That's what it's about. So now when my babies get to a certain age, they don't have to start where I start from. They got John Hope Franklin on the shelf. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, MBK is a beautiful, you know what I'm saying, society. And I think and I appreciate the experience because it made me a better reader, period. Like, it made me be able to have that comprehension of what I was reading and more dimensions of this is what the paper said, and someone asked me a question, this is what, you know, I can answer it. But understanding the authors and the personalities and the culture surrounding it and the politics surrounding it. So
Yeah, man. And like I said, man, I definitely appreciate, you know, what y'all do over there. Like I said, I can't catch them all the time, but I go back and try to look at all of them. A lot of times I look at it, it'd be late at night because I'm a night owl. So sometimes when I get off of work, sometimes in the middle of the night, I'm still up because I'm working. My mind's always thinking. So while as I'm writing, I'm listening to the channel. And I've been listening to some of the bills y'all been having with the these abos, these abos.
Abos.
Yeah, and man, like I was telling you over the phone, I wish I could have been in some of the bills because I mean y'all touched on a lot of stuff. I touched on, you know, all the stuff y'all touched on. I talked about, man, maybe about 2 or 3 years ago. I have a whole series where I talk about the Gullah Geechee. I have one where I talk about the first one where I talk about the Gala people in Sierra Leone, the Mende people in Sierra Leone.
Oh yeah, we've been watching. We've been paying attention. Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, and you know, and I did a whole 5 series on it, and I liked where y'all how y'all been coming, and y'all been allowing them to come on the panel, and I applaud y'all over there for having patience because I don't think I could have had the patience. Now, and I applaud y'all for the good character. I see how, True Historian has good character over there. Robbo and allowing, them to speak and not speaking over them. And, you having patience and, you letting them get it off and then y'all coming back. So I like it over there because it's respect for y'all being respect, even though y'all totally disagree and know that these people is out of their minds. I mean, they are totally out of their minds, but y'all were being respectful to these guys. Y'all were listening to them. So, and that what gets my attention more. That makes me want to watch any platform when people have that much discipline and respect, for others, regardless if you dislike the information that they have. You still, let them get off what they got to do without interrupting them. You let them get it off without, talking negative about them. So, I like that, man. But I've been definitely looking at all those series y'all been putting out, man, and them guys on, man. And I'm telling you, man, y'all been doing a wonderful job, and I definitely hope, as y'all continue, that I'm able to come over there and give my piece when y'all dealing, with those apples.
Most definitely.
Mhm.
Anytime that you want to come through, just let me know. I get it queued up and we get working. And
Yeah.
the abos, abo wars are seasonal. They it's like, what I'm saying, in Afghanistan, fighting season, then they get cold and you don't have fighting season no more. And it's just fighting season for abos. And I want to make sure that, on this platform, and if I'm doing too much, let me know. We've never suggested that nobody isn't an Indian. All we said was keep West Africa out of it. You dig what I'm saying? So the history is beautiful enough if we just keep it to the record. We can speak about our interactions with Native American tribes or American tribes and how we dealt with it and survived and succumbed to certain things. Like we can build that way.
Mhm.
But what we can't do and what we shouldn't allow is for individuals without any type of moral, scholastical backing to try to prevent us from, talking about our ancestors and attacking those institutions that put forth that information about our ancestors. Like there's ways to do it. John Henry Clark, for more recently, and Dr. Ben, they showed us how to do that. You don't shoot at the institution from outside the institution. You get in the institution and take it from the inside. So and even with the Black historians like James W.C. Pennington or George Washington Williams that we talk about, a lot of these things that we confirmed about in 2020, we've dealt with it before. But when we don't have that understanding of these previous men and women who dealt with these same issues, it's like we always starting over again. So, that's one of the things that we try to do at NBK. I'm gonna give you the primary source. I'm gonna show you somebody in 1841 already not arguing about what an African is, not arguing about what Black is, because that's, in my opinion, futile. We should already understand when you play a game, the players in the game already. There's no ambiguity there. You picked your player already.
Mhm.
So we know exactly who we are. We know exactly where we come from. And we standing on that work of Absalom Jones and Richard Allen and David Walker and David Ruggles. That's what we standing on. And if you are able out there and you not standing on nobody, it's maybe insalubrious to your intellectual health because you gonna have a time dealing with this information that we have here.
Mhm. No doubt, no doubt. Shoot, we got about we'll do about 12 more minutes. We try not to make the shows no longer than an hour and a half.
Okay.
Brother Sutekh, brother Sutekh, you got any questions for him? I only have about maybe two, and I really don't even have to ask these questions because we kind of already deal with them, through us just building. But you got anything? Do you have anything for Seneb?
Yeah, man. First of all, peace, brother, man. We appreciate y'all over there at NBK, what y'all do. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't really deal with that lane, and it's very needed in the community. So I wanted to get that out first. But my question is, what is the most surprising piece of information that you ran across in your studies? Like it could be something that made you mad, something that, is whatever, something that surprised you the most.
Free Africans. Again, with me coming up in the AME Zion Church, whether it's, Alex Waders or Christopher Rush, you know, you get a certain skill. I'm from North Carolina. Goldsboro, which is where I was raised in, was a county that was a part of the segmentation of Reconstruction. And everybody that I grew up around, the Black neighborhood I grew up in, I can tell. Like, I have a better appreciation for it now than I did then. But to stay on topic, the free Africans is what angered me. And not just the free Africans, but the institutions that they set up, the mutual aid and benefit organizations, not knowing that the very institution that I hated going to Sundays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, that was 3 houses down for me, not understanding that that was the foundation that building was created upon. and not being able to appreciate it as I should have been doing when I was 9, 10, 11, 12, you know, because it became a chore, but I didn't realize that it had a foundation in something, in those people that we were helping. It wasn't more say about what was in that book. It was more about the community and the community work. That's what irritated me the most, because even at that time, age of 12, 13, because well, and real quick, what some people don't know is the AME Zion Church has a rite of passage called Buzz of Promise. And during that Buzz of Promise, you learn sewing, knitting, basic car work, change of tires, how to cook. You learn about your community's history. And we all know this is the foundation of West African societies. This is what you're going to go through a rite of passage. You hit 11, 12 years old, it's now for you to become a young man or a young woman. So me not being able to tie the dots when I was 12, 13, and being, you know, 24, 25, finally seeing what it was and understanding what these men, who I thought just was some bougie church heads, that they was really trying to improve the conditions and also educate you about who you are and where you come from. That was probably the most, you know, frustrating thing to deal with, because, you know, that's time lost. But more importantly, I can pass that to my children, so they may have a better appreciation for the institution that brought me up and my grandparents up. And, you know, again, they can start at a different step on the ladder.
No doubt, no doubt. You got anything else, Sutekh? Sutekh? I didn't hear you. What about you, Satepara? I see you on the panel.
Nah, man, I ain't got too much. Just appreciate the brother coming on the panel, and like Sutekh said, we appreciate the brothers over at NBK. Yeah, I personally been rocking with NBK for a long, long time. We go way, way back. So yeah, this is a good interview, and we gonna hopefully we get Rob Bourne on here next. If I get him to text me back, we'll see. But
y'all gotta get the God over here.
Gotta get the God on here.
Gotta get the God on here.
Yeah, we definitely gonna try to get as you know, many of y'all on here as possible. You know, I want to get true historian. You know, try to get true story. I know it won't be nothing for me to get Sister Kaba. You know, try to get Sister Kaba over here, because we love, like I said, we just love what y'all doing in perspective. And again, this is warrior scholars, so you know, we deem y'all to be warrior scholars over there. You know, we broke down what we think warrior scholars is, and y'all are definitely warrior scholars over there. But okay, and this will just go into, and you know, what made you want to, you know, what made Seneb want to just teach? Because you know, a lot of people say that they're not teach. I used to say the same thing. You know, I came up through the Seshew Iyanu Netcher group. That's a group we deal with the language, which is called the running Kemet, and the writing script, which is called the Seshew Netcher, which y'all may refer to as the hieroglyphs, in 2005. And then in 2017, I created Kofi Piesie TV, and I started to do presentations, you know, and you know, people would say, "You a teacher?" And I would say, "Nah, I'm not a teacher. I'm not a teacher. I'm a student," you know. And I don't know if you like people to refer you as a teacher, but I'm gonna say you are definitely a teacher. And so, you know, what made you want to start teaching and sharing information with others? And I see now you know, like you will be here and there, like Sutekh said, you know, he's been following NBK for a long time. Like I said, I got introduced to NBK in 2014, and then started watching y'all definitely heavy. I started watching y'all in 2017. I became, you know, every time y'all did something, I always wanted to try to tune in live. If I didn't tune in live, I made sure that I always went back and watched a lot of y'all bills. I'll be honest, I hadn't watched a lot. I mean, watched an entire show. I have watched just about every last one of y'all shows, because y'all be getting it in, and y'all shows be 3 hours. And we, you know, we do that sometimes. We try to break it down so we can have it at least an hour, no longer than 2 hours. So sometimes the time intimidate me, and I can only get into about an hour and a half, and then I know probably I might miss the good stuff right at the end of the show. But
yeah, I understand.
Yeah, but
the made me, it was more like, it wasn't necessarily like it was more like a charge. Me understanding and reading what my ancestors were doing, and how they were pushing the envelope forward. It almost became like a requirement for me, because I was now armed with the information that I knew a lot of my brothers and sisters wasn't armed with. So with that, it was almost like, I don't want to, I'm not going to be over here in the group and not contributing to anything, or I'm not going to have all these books on my shelf just to have it for myself. It was important to begin to spread that knowledge, and luckily, I was able to be a part of New Black Knowledge and use that apparatus to spread that information. And it, in the beginning, you know how it is when you first get online. You may be a little timid with it, or necessarily maybe unsure of how the audience is going to accept you. But for me, luckily, there's other people, to include Mossi clan, who are interested in this history, and that's interested in seeing themselves in this history. So when it almost began like, I gotta get these books. I gotta learn this. I gotta learn that, because it's not just me and mine that I'm trying to help. It may be you and yours, and it ain't me necessarily trying to teach you or anyone their history. It's more me just providing the information to assist someone in the journey to find out who they are. You know what I mean?
No doubt. So, okay, this is the last question here, man. What kind of advice can you give up and coming warrior scholars? What kind of advice can you give them?
I would say start where you are. You don't have to jump in a time machine. You can literally go downtown, find your local library, go to this archives. You can go to your local historical society, because pretty much every city or county has one. And you begin to go through those records and find this information, whether it's your own genealogy or your own history, or just history of African Americans in where you're from. Those are the areas to start at first. And you don't have to be a writer. You don't have to, live African spirituality or African culture. You don't have to move back to Africa. But understanding who you are is important. I'm a military man, and you can't plot a point if you don't have an originating point. You see what I'm saying? Or you'll find yourself in the deficit trying to figure out where you are without a starting point. So, this history is important, and I just felt compelled to assist others who may, like myself, whether or not didn't have a proper appreciation or have a knowledge for it. I just felt compelled almost to just either put it down on paper via my writings, or go live on YouTube and express it that way.
So y'all got it there, man, from Brother Seneb. Some good advice. And that's going to end the show. We like at 1 hour and 33 minutes. We ran over 3 minutes, but it's all good, man. When you're having fun, time just flies by. It seems like we just started the interview, man, but it's 1 hour and 33 minutes into the show. I definitely appreciate those that what'd you say, Sutekh?
We gonna do the speed questions, or is that for the
That's for author's perspective, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, like, we greatly appreciate those who tuned in to check out the interview that we had on the second show of Warrior Scholars interview. We definitely gonna have some more powerful people on the panel to interview on Warrior Scholars. We definitely gonna have some more of NBK members on the panel real soon, because we respect them. I know I definitely do. I respect the platform. Dang, he didn't jump out. Respect the platform. I don't know if he got kicked off, but yeah, he might have got kicked off. But we definitely appreciate Brother Seneb for coming on the platform today. We appreciate the NBK platform over there. That's one of my platforms. I only look at a few YouTube channels, and that's NBK. Besides our channels, Mossi and Kofi, that's NBK. Dr. Oyama Otts and Asar Imhotep, the Pseudo Killers, and the Black Atheist channel. So it's a few channels I look at. So those channels, please go subscribe to all those channels. Also go subscribe to Kofi Piesie TV if you haven't subscribed. Go subscribe to Mossi Warrior Clan. Go subscribe to Niger Valley Civilzation, which is Brother Sutekh's channel. Go subscribe to Omni Africa channel, which is our newest member channel, and the Chronicles of Nygahtry is also our newest member channel. So please go subscribe to those channels. Please support. Again, we greatly appreciate y'all for tuning in. Let me see if that's Brother Seneb back. Yeah, that's Brother Seneb. Yeah, you got kicked off. Brother Seneb, we greatly appreciate you, man, for coming on the platform, man. You got any closing remarks, any closing words? I know I told you, that you might not have anything else to say, but if you got any other closing remarks for the family out there, man, time is now.
I would just say, first thank you to the Mossi, for extending the invitation for me to come on and build. I truly appreciate it. I really appreciate all the things you brothers are doing, and I'm thankful to the fact that y'all support what we're doing. And to all the people out there, just keep reading. Please check out, shameless plug, check out New Black Knowledge if you haven't. Check out our community page. We have a lot of information there, a lot of primaries there. And if you have any questions, to how to kind of get a lot of this information, feel free to drop a comment on any video. And trust me, we pay attention to the comments, and someone will be reaching out to you, whether just to answer a question or to provide some information that you're looking for. So again, thank you.
All right, and it's all good, and I know people does that a lot for us, because we mentioned both of them, and Kofi Piesie research team and Mossi Warrior Clan. Mossi Warrior Clan, and I know why a lot of people does that, because me and Shawn is a member of Mossi Warrior Clan, and we have 6 publications out, and each one of our publications we have the Mossi Warrior Clan Presents, and we have the Mossi Warrior Clan and the Kofi Piesie research team logo. Kofi Piesie research team is a branch of the Mossi Warrior Clan, just like Mossi Warrior Clan is a branch off of the Amun-Ra squad. So, Kofi Piesie research team, Mossi Warrior Clan is 2 different groups. But we talk about both because we are members of both, and Mossi Warrior Clan and Kofi Piesie research team, we have an imprint where all of our publication, whether it's dealing with books or whether it's dealing with clothing, it's up under that one umbrella, Kofi Piesie research team and Mossi Warrior Clan. So please be on the lookout. This Friday, which is Black Friday, we'll be releasing Spiritual Comeback, the Historical Survey of the Minds of African Warrior Scholars, Volume 3, which the forward is by Kevin Herb Chill from Cleveland, and our great sister who's in the chat now, Sister LaDosha, wrote the dedicated forward for that book. So we appreciate them for writing the forward and dedicated forward for that book. But that will be released this Friday. Killmonger's Corner, the Pan-African Journal, Part 2, it will also be released on that day, Brother Ben's Volume 2 to the Killmonger's Corner, as well as Mboka. Mboka is a Wolof word that means family. So Mboka's family connected apparel store on Shopify will be up and ready for y'all to purchase clothing. I mean, I say it's a clothing line, it's a clothing line. We have hats, beanies, skull caps, bucket caps, polo shirts, but it's all our brand. So you're not only going to have the Mboka brand, you're going to have the Kofi Piesie Research brand clothing, as well as the Mossi Warrior Clan brand clothing. Every day I'll be posting some different clothing from each one of those different brands. But that soft launch will be on the 27th. So again, we have a lot going on the 27th. So please support. Please watch out what we got going on. I want to say Black African Power again. I want to say, man, thank you, Brother Seneb, for coming on the platform. I asked you, man, you like, sure, it wasn't the runaround. You was like, man, whatever you need. And Kofi Piesie TV, man, is always here for you. NBK as well. Anytime y'all need us for anything, man, whether it's research or coming on and building or reference to a book dealing with West Africa or whatever the case may be, man, just just hit us up, man, and we
oh, definitely. And shouts out to the Kofi Piesie research team, man. And excuse me and forgive me for messing up earlier. But if you out there, if you subscribed or follow NBK and you like what we do, then I know you will appreciate the same way what the brothers over and the sisters over here at Kofi Piesie research team are doing. So please like, share, and subscribe.
Yes, sir. And also like and subscribe to NBK. And we hopefully to get to where y'all at one day with that 10,000. How many subscribers y'all got over there? Is it 10,000 subscribers?
Yeah, we championship status now. We got like 10,000. You know what I'm saying? Much appreciated. Yeah.
10,000, man. Y'all heard that? They got 10,000 subscribers. So please go subscribe to NBK and please subscribe to us because we want to get to 10,000 one day, man. But they've been putting in the work, man, and it's they deserve everything, man, that they get over there, man. So again, peace and no doubt. So again, peace and Black African Power. I said ETM Hotep in the beginning, which means bring forth peace. So now I want to say Shem Hotep. Shem Hotep means just to depart in peace. And we'll see y'all next week. We'll be doing author's perspective next week with a Baltimore author who has 3 or 4 publications. I can't remember exactly how many. I'm waiting on 2 of his publications now. Baba Imhotep, y'all may know him from he did an interview with Dr. Oyama, and I liked the brother energy, and she was just a regular interview. And when he said he was an author, and then just the energy he had and the things that he's doing in his community, and then him being an author, I said, man, I gotta definitely reach out to this brother and get this brother on the platform, get him on author's perspective. So Baba Imhotep will be on author's perspective next week. Go look him up if you don't know. He's from the Baltimore area. It's a YouTube channel. I'll be posting some of his information sometime this week. But again, Shem Hotep, Black African Power, man, and we'll see y'all next Sunday on author's perspective, and then we'll come back with Warrior Scholars. Third show, we up in the air. Oh yeah, we coming back today. We're coming back today with the destruction of Black civilization. We on chapter 4. So definitely tune in for that, man. Great show last week, man. Definitely gonna be a great show. This week is 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We'll be back live today. We've been doing double shows for the past month and a half. So again, appreciate the support, man. We'll see y'all next time, and we out of here.